Welcome to part 2 of our series on the M60A3 TTS that is modeled in Steel Beasts. Today's video will be about the commander's position in the M60A3 TTS. In comparison to modern armored fighting vehicles, which allow the gunner many self-service options for acquiring and ranging targets in addition to the spotting ability of the tank commander, in the M60 the commander had access to one tool that the gunner did not have direct access to, at least in earlier models, which was the laser range-finding equipment. Use F7 to access the commander's position. A distinct feature of the M60 is the protected weapons cupola for the commander, which allows for use of the 50 caliber machine gun with a relative degree of safety from small arms fire and artillery, but at the expense of commander visibility and weapons use flexibility, as the 50 caliber machine gun can only be operated from inside the cupola. The cupola also increases the profile of the M60 on what was already a tall tank, increasing visibility to the enemy, and making it easier to be identified at a distance, or even worse, hit by a round or ATGM. The commander is still able to change the elevation within the turret, just like other crewable commander positions in Steel Beasts. Q key to increase elevation until it reaches the highest point, and the Z key to reverse back down inside the turret. Depending on the combat environment, you may find an intermediate elevation that allows for visibility, but also allows slightly faster response time to small arms fire or artillery. Hit B for button to close the hatch and button up inside the tank. Note that your most important defensive countermeasure, smoke grenades, are accessible at any time by hitting the Tab key. You have 2 salvos available before reloading, and they will be one of the best ways to block incoming accurate fire, as well as observation when retreating. The M19 cupola is traversable in 360 degrees, and provides both daylight and passive night sights in order to aim and fire the M85 50 caliber machine gun, as well as for observation. To access the daylight sights, press F3. To access the night sights, press Alt F3. Both sights traverse left and right using the normal Steel Beast controls for aiming a sight using the mouse, a joystick, or the left and right keyboard arrow keys if in manual mode. This is due to the M60 having a powered motor that controlled this aspect of the cupola. The day sights use a simple Stadia reticule system similar to that on the M1 Abrams Commander's weapons station. The numbers on the right side of the scale represent the range in hundreds of meters. Using this in combination with the center reticule markings, it can be fairly easy to hit a target at a known range, or conversely, use the 50 caliber machine gun to find a range from a known marking. Example: this cross on the reticule is 1200 meters, and, after adjusting for any elevation differences, the beaten zone where it lands should be about 1200 meters away. The night sights use an infrared sensor that is capable of detecting targets out to 2,000 meters, differentiating them at 1,500 meters, and identifying them up to 1,000 meters under starlight conditions. However, the night sights are quickly overloaded or damaged by strong light sources, and thus are not usable in daylight. Attempting to do so results in a solid black sight. Because the reticule is not connected to any ballistic measurement system, firing will have to be on a burst, adjust, and burst again basis. The M36E1 periscope assembly features a powered Unity window, providing a daylight 1-to-1 optical periscope superimposed with a red ring showing the area covered by either 8x optic. This periscope is accessed by pressing F4, and takes the place of the cupola's direct vision blocks for the purposes of observing around the vehicle without having to spin the turret or having the commander expose himself to hostile fire. If all 50 caliber rounds are expended, the machine gun can be reloaded from the safety of the cupola. Reload the M85 machine gun using the Vehicle menu at the top of the screen and selecting Reload, which then opens up a submenu asking for what specific ammo you would like to reload with. Mounted just to the right of the M36 assembly on the cupola wall is the commander's control panel with a single functional switch labeled Last Round Override. Normally, this is set to off, leaving a short section of ammo, 20 rounds, available to link fresh belts to and speed reloading. Setting the override to on allows the commander to expend all ready ammo and increases reload times. One real-world tip in using the M19 cupola is to do so from the turret down position. Pull forward just enough so that the gunner can see the target through the gunner's primary sight over any forward obstruction, but not forward enough so that the gunner's auxiliary sight has a line of sight to the target. Since the laser rangefinder aperture, also known as doghouse, is mounted near the top of the turret, doing this will ensure that the gunner can laser a target and get the range without exposing the rest of the turret. Once the range is determined by the gunner, or by the tank commander's lasing from the rangefinder directly, then the commander can place accurate 50 caliber fire on the threat. You can use this technique to engage light armored vehicles without exposing the tank to other unknown threats in the area, and you can avoid wasting a valuable main gun round as well. It may also coax enemy units into opening fire prematurely and revealing themselves in the process, shooting at a target where the probability of a hit is relatively low. The AN-VVG-2 laser rangefinder is the primary means for determining range on the M60A3 tank and serves as the primary day sight for the commander to fire the main gun and coaxial machine gun with a choice of 6 times or 12 times magnification. The laser rangefinder consists of a receiver transmitter unit at the tank commander's station and the electronics unit located on the turret floor. The laser rangefinder can be activated by the tank commander to determine ranges between 200 and 4,700 meters with an accuracy of plus or minus 10 meters. Note that unlike in the M1, the use of the laser rangefinder does not start lead calculations by the ballistic computer against moving targets. When engaging moving targets, the commander must apply manual lead or use the thermal sight display. The laser rangefinder's optics are accessed by pressing Alt F2. Use the rangefinding laser with the Control key or joystick button 2, and engage targets if necessary using the spacebar or the joystick trigger. Overriding the gunner onto an enemy target and then releasing the P key is known as designating a target. By releasing the override key, you are giving control back to the gunner. If the AI gunner identifies the target that you have put in view, it will begin tracking and wait for your order to fire using the spacebar. The laser rangefinder is worth a closer examination, both for historical appreciation and for optimal use. There are 3 types listed under Mode. Test. This is the safety mode of the laser rangefinder, the default setting when not in combat. Within 4 seconds of switching out of this mode to any other mode, the red range light will start blinking, indicating the laser is powered up. On. On mode is used when the automatic transfer of range data to the ballistic computer is not desired. After the gunner or tank commander has ranged a target, the laser rangefinder will store the first 3 returns and the yellow select light will be lit. Using the 1, 2, or last buttons on the receiver transmitter button panel will display the corresponding returns on the receiver transmitter's digital display. If only one return is received by the receiver transmitter, it may be displayed with either the 1 or last return button. If no return is received, the digital range display will show 9995 regardless of which return button is pressed. In the process of filming this tutorial, we discovered that the digital readout does not actually show 9995, and this will be remedied in a future version of Steel Beast. Once the tank commander has evaluated and selected the appropriate return, he can send the data to the M21 computer using the Feed button. At this point, the green Go light will come on, indicating the range data was successfully transferred to the computer. Auto. Auto is the default mode for the laser rangefinder. In this mode, the last received return is automatically transferred to the M21 computer, as long as it is between 400 and 4,700 meters, and no more than 3 range returns were received. If more than 3 returns are received, the yellow Select light will come on, and the range data will not be transferred. At this point, the tank commander can evaluate, select, and manually transfer the range data as described under the On mode earlier. Or, if none of the ranges are correct, he can do one of the following. Press the Battle Range button, then Reset buttons, and command the gunner to relays. Or, press the Reset button and lays the target himself. Or, have the gunner manually index a range using the gunner's control unit. Or, initiate a battle sight engagement using either the gunner's auxiliary sight or manual range mode on the GCU with a pre-index range. All of these tools, mentioned so far, are meant to assist the tank commander in his primary job, that of directing the vehicle and engaging targets. As such, there are 3 main sets of interactions with other crew members: commander to gunner, commander to loader, and commander to driver. When you as the tank commander identify a target, you may lay the gunner's sights on target and instruct on how to engage in 2 ways. The standard method is to guide the gunner on the target and to order him to engage. To do so, hold down the P key and use the mouse or joystick directional controls to move the gun and override the gunner. Now release P again. The gunner will confirm the target. Now order the gunner to fire by pressing spacebar. This method allows you to concentrate on identifying the next most important target or other tasks. The vehicle commander is the most task-saturated person on a tank. The other method is to shoot the target yourself. Keep P held down and press the space key to fire. This is quicker, but incurs the danger of getting target fixated, thus losing awareness of emerging more urgent threats. Here are some other helpful commands. Shift and space for automatic engagement of a group of targets. H. Hold fire. Tells the gunner to hold fire, and will also hold the fire of the rest of the platoon if the tank commander is also the platoon leader. F. Fire at will. Similar to hold fire, this tells the gunner to open fire, and will carry over to the rest of the platoon in the case of a tank commander who is the platoon leader. E. Engage. Orders the gunner to engage in the direction the tank commander is facing, and instructs the driver simultaneously to take a battle position facing that direction. On a platoon level, this means the platoon will take battle positions in the direction the tank commander is facing, while still covering their assigned sectors in the formation. M. Toggle between use coaxial and main gun. This instructs the gunner to switch from using the main gun to using the coaxial machine gun. Sometimes the AI gunner may hesitate when asked to engage using the coaxial machine gun due to various factors, including bugs, that impact its behavior at the time this video was made. This is an opportunity to use the coaxial machine gun yourself as commander. Hold P and use the spacebar to engage targets. Note that you may have to adjust for windage, just like real life. Shift front arrow. Engage front. This focuses, but does not limit, gunner attention on a 45-degree sector facing front. Shift left arrow. Similarly, this focuses on a 45-degree sector facing front left. Shift left arrow. Focuses in a 45-degree sector facing far left. Shift right arrow. And of course, there is a version of this for looking front right as well. Shift right right arrow, sector far right. The following commands are used by the commander to tell the loader what main gun round type to load and when. Insert. Fire. Fire ammo type 1, which is usually sabot or kinetic energy. Delete. Fire. Fire ammo type 2, which is often heat-shaped charge, but might also be high explosive squash head or some other ammunition type, depending on the scenario. Home. Fire. Fire ammo type 3, if applicable. End. Fire. Fire ammo type 4, if applicable. For all of the loader commands, it is important to know that they, in many cases, can be modified by shift or double tapping. Holding down shift for insert, delete, home, and end orders the loader to reload this ammo type from the semi-ready rack for easier access in the near future or present. Double tapping insert, delete, home, and end orders the loader to unload the current round and reload this ammo type. Finally, shift page down orders the tank crew to reload all weapon systems, appropriate for lulls between engagements. The AI loader will confirm when the main gun is ready to fire again, and in the case of a round type change, such as sabot to heat, will announce that change. As expected and experienced with other vehicles in Steel Beasts, the W, A, S, D, and X keys direct the driver in the usual directions. Using Shift A or Shift D will turn the tank more quickly in each respective direction, with 2 presses being equivalent to a 45-degree change in direction, while 4 commands are equivalent to a complete change in direction, or 90 degrees. This concludes part 2 of our tutorial on the M60A3 TTS in Steel Beasts. Please join us for the next installment of this series. We recommend watching part 1 of our series, located here, which has more information about the M60's development, the gunner position, and the driver's position. We hope you have found this video helpful. Please let us know at the discussion boards at steelbeast.com. Thank you.